making sure that you present a proposal that's focused around business cases and business use cases, not just pictures of the team and sight lines from these certain seats in the ballpark and a video of the club. Like that's all great. That's like after the fact. Like once you've defined, here are the objectives that we're looking to achieve, and here's how we're going to help you do it, and here's why I think 4 seats work for you, and here's how I think you can use 81 games in baseball, and like breaking it down like that in your proposals, because I'm assuming that this is just going to get forwarded on to the executives for approval. So if they weren't in the meeting, I want to make sure that I'm setting myself up and I'm setting my champion up for success. So I'm going to make sure I build a proposal that really helps them walk through and tell the ROI story. And one thing to just add to it is maybe put a video with the proposal too, so that if someone wasn't in the meeting, you do a quick 2-3 minute video, and they can be like, okay, I get why that we're looking at this, and now they can have a more educated decision to make versus when you just want to buy sports tickets because you're a big XYZ team fan. So really in that stage of the process, not taking our typical B2C approach, really thinking about it from a business perspective. So B2C is really focused on, perks, benefits, sweeten the pot with, these incentives and these deals, slashing prices or giving discounts. The business will take it. They don't need it. They have the money. And if they don't, they'll let you know, and we can kind of work something out or structure certain payments, or maybe get something in return for giving a discount. Like that's smart business there. But if we're going to throw in batting practice passes or floor seats for a game, how does that help them achieve a business goal? How does that help them achieve something that they're looking to do? So, for example, if you're going to use batting practice passes, give them an example like, hey, if you close this deal, I can give you batting practice passes, and here's how this can help you. You could take one of your top clients that you have a great relationship with and provide a once in a lifetime experience that only you can curate or create for them that no one else could do. Or maybe they have an employee that's been with them 15, 20 years, and they've always crushed it for them. This is a way that they can thank them. So that person can maybe take their kid out and like provide a once in a lifetime experience. Like that's going to go a long way. And that affinity that you create with that employee and the culture that you're creating, like those are ways that you can leverage these things that we have that we just kind of throw out there to really help drive business results and help you close the sale. So looking at it from that perspective, not from trying to close a fan because they're just excited. So all that plays into renewing and expanding your clients. And really, this is where everything starts, because if you do this right, this allows you then to have good messaging on the front end to attract people that you're just trying to create awareness with. This allows you, when you're trying to get people to take meetings with your sales team, you can talk about how clients like them have been in similar problems, and that's why I want to meet. Would you be interested in learning more? When you're looking to close a new sale, you're talking about people that look like them, sound like them, that are similar to them, that are already current clients of yours. So really, you should start at this stage to help inform all the things we're doing at the other stages in the process. But at this point, what I talked a lot about recently as it relates to renewals and post sale and everything like that was more around making sure you have the right DNA of the person in this role, especially if they're managing B2B accounts. Making sure that this person is a strategic advisor. If a business is buying tickets, there's an outcome they're looking to achieve. So do they clearly know what that is? And are they working with this person and understanding what their goals are on a consistent basis that aren't just around them buying more tickets? When you do that and you have these organic conversations and you're truly trying to help them achieve their goals and achieve success, you're going to unlock different opportunities for cross sales, referrals, for upsells, things like that. So really taking people that have a strategic sales mindset, not just someone who's nice and can handle reactively customer service issues. You should just have a different team for that, or now you could probably have AI handle a lot of the customer service issues themselves. But if you intimately know your customers and get to know them, again, that's going to help you at all stages of the process, and then ultimately see more success in the renewals. So I think this is the most overlooked part of the process, because, and I did it myself too, because I'm like, oh, they're current clients, they're good, especially if they got to like year 3 or 4, they're pretty much a lock based on the data we look at. We really honed in on like those first year, those rookie, those second year accounts, because they're still high risk to churn. Like maybe they just tested us out, so we're really treating them almost like a new sale. But it shouldn't stop at years 3 and 4. Like there continue to be opportunities. So like from a B2B perspective, let's say you sold like a Chase Bank or a Bank of America, and we're like, all right, we're good. We got them on board. Within an account like that, there's probably 15 plus sales opportunities from the different departments, the different use cases, the referrals that they could pull out. But we don't unlock that. We're like, all right, we're good. We got Bank of America, and there's so many opportunities to look to expand that if you have the right people who are strategically thinking about it. So bringing your executives in, probably bringing the salesperson back in, and not getting so caught up in like, here's our department structure, like this is the only person that can deal with that account. We could get more money and achieve our goals more quickly by providing good experience for our current clients and getting them to spend more with us than putting all the efforts towards new sales. We need to do both, but you can get more out of that and then better inform your decisions to go out and find new business. So the last couple things I'll talk through is like, all right, you've gone through this framework, and I just kind of recapped it all of all the different stages where you want to put your investments and resources. How do you make sure it's working? How do you measure success? So you need someone who's kind of architecting the data part of all this and tracking and measuring at all stages. Like, all right, we wanted to achieve this outcome that's tangible, that's going to lead to revenue success on the long end, on the back end, and is tracking and measuring the data. So someone that understands that process, not just CRM, but how do we make sure that there's buy-in from everybody? They understand the why of why we're tracking all this and bringing it all together. Because if we have bad data, then you're just going to get bad outputs. And if we try and put technology, and I've made this mistake before, I'm like, all right, technology is going to solve that problem because I see other teams do it, I see other companies do it, but we didn't have the right foundation framework, the data to do it right, and we didn't get the results we wanted. So it was a wasted investment. So making sure that you have that foundation laid, you're collecting the right data, you're measuring it right. Now you can go get an AI tool to speed things up because you're doing it right and you're making smart business decisions and you're seeing what works and what doesn't work and everything like that. It just gives you the confidence to make good decisions. So metrics that you want to track throughout really the whole process here, but are not just vanity metrics, but really tell you if you're seeing success. How many accounts are you engaging? So if it's on the front end where people don't know who you are, how many of those people are you moving to that are aware of you, that are engaging with your content, that are meeting with your sales team? Like that's a good metric to measure. Another good metric that you can look at is, how long is it taking you to book meetings? So if you're reaching out to the right people and you're doing a great job on the front end of finding quality leads to go after, they should be at a point where they're ready to meet with your sales team. So how quickly are you able to book those meetings when someone raises their hand? Are they showing up for their meetings? So what's your hold rate of the meetings that you set? How long is it taking you to close sales from the time that they start and enter the process to when they close? If we're going after the right people with the right messaging and like doing a good job of discovery, those should be quicker sales that are coming through. It shouldn't take months. We should be able to get that hopefully in weeks because we're speeding up our sales cycle. How big are the deals? Are we going after the right people? If we're trying to get big premium sales, 6-figure deals, we need to make sure we're going after the right type of people that match those current buyers that we already have. If we're going after, small, mid-sized businesses that typically buy, season tickets in the outfield or something like that, or, in the upper bowl, like that's not going to match the type of person that we're looking to go after for a bigger sale. So looking at our data and making sure we're going after the right people. Are we able to upsell and expand our accounts, not just renew them? So really doing that detailed segmentation of like the data and making sure that everything's working. And what the data should do is give you tools to be able to coach better. A lot of times, and I talked about this recently on LinkedIn, making sure we're looking at the right metrics, not just activities, emails, phone calls, things like that. Like you should work your way down. Like, are we achieving our revenue goals? Okay, if not, why is that? And if people aren't doing the effort, then that's like down the funnel a little bit, or down the sales process a little bit. But it's all from a coaching perspective. It's not to shame anyone. It's not to make anyone feel bad. It's like, all right, we can now quantify at each stage of the process. We had a defined metric we wanted to achieve. Are we not doing that? So now how do we go in and diagnose that? Are we not renewing at a high rate? And what's the cause there? Are we not getting enough new people in the mix? What can we do better to do that? And like, how do we coach at all the stages in the process? So in closing, so if you do all this well and you have everyone aligned, you'll have more confidence as you're going through, and it allows you to experiment and try new things. So if you want to roll out a new product, or you want to have to go after a new segment, or if you want to try something new on the marketing side, like go to new events and try and engage a new audience, or do a podcast, or do like a video series. Like, what things are going right and you're getting the proper return of your investments, now that allows you to try some new things. I think we try things just for the sake of being creative, but you have a little bit of a buffer if things are going well and the foundation and fundamentals are laid, and you're measuring that right and measuring that well. Now you can go out and experiment and try some new things. So bucketing all this and knowing what your objectives are for each stage of the process allows you to best measure your investments instead of just randomly doing stuff. Knowing why you're doing it and defining it. And then the last thing I'd say to kind of wrap up here is making sure, because again, this starts at the executive level, so there should be alignment across all stakeholders, because there's different departments that are involved in this, but making sure that you're not fighting for credit. So when you look at each of the different areas, like generating awareness typically is like a marketing initiative, where renewing and closing, or closing sales and renewing, is more on like the sales team side. And so a lot of times those could be differing objectives, and like fighting for attention or fighting for resources or dollars to be invested in. But if we've defined from the front end the why, and everyone knows what the bigger purpose is that ties to revenue on the back end, or that outcomes really that drive to the business goals and outcomes, then everyone's bought in, everyone's on the same page, and you're not fighting over credit. Because I've seen, even within departments, like, the sales team's like excited because they hit their new sales goal, but the renewal team didn't. And, we didn't hit our overall goals. Like, if we didn't get to the end goals, anything we did in marketing or analytics or sales, like, it doesn't matter, because you got to get to the business objective. So it's very tough to do. I know that's, an ideal scenario, but at the executive level, that's your job, is to get everyone aligned and tied together and understanding the why. And I think the outcomes, one, the revenue outcomes are obviously there. You're going to get everyone pulling in the same direction, and it's just going to lead to more success. But like, more from a cultural standpoint, you see success because now people are invested. They feel that their work's meaningful. It's tied to an outcome that you're putting the scoreboard up and you're measuring it and everyone's seeing it. They're working together as a team. They feel, that camaraderie with each other, and like they're all in it together and know why we're doing it. That leads to, higher retention of your employees, higher satisfaction and engagement. So people are going to stay longer. You're going to have more success. You're not always trying to refill, your employee base and re-educate new people. Like, I've seen some teams that they've had people, there for a really long time because they've done a great job building a culture. And these are things aside from, providing pizza on Fridays or half days, that like, really, if you can ingrain this in like your processes and your culture and your structure, that's what keeps people, and that's what keeps people engaged. And you just have that mentality when you come in, like, here's how we operate, here's our processes. So I just see a ton of benefit from an initiative, a project, or a process like this that brings everyone together, especially on the revenue side of the business, because that's at the end of the day, you're trying to get more butts in the seats, you're trying to hit your revenue goals, and you need that team to be aligned and not fighting over who gets credit for what, or who's looking to blame someone if you missed. No, everyone takes accountability and they all figure it out together. So appreciate you tuning in. It's a long one. I'll probably turn this into 2 videos again, but I'll be back here with another video, potentially another series, but definitely another video. But as always, appreciate you tuning in. Love to hear feedback. Have a great day.